If you're only automating, you're already behind.
Look, we've got to get this straight. For way too long, we've thought about AI as just another piece of software for getting things done faster. But that's not the game anymore. Today, AI is strategy. We're moving beyond simple efficiency and into its new role as the engine for your core business goals.
Stop. Please read the entire legal disclaimer on screen before continuing.
All right, let's really get into this. For years, the whole conversation around AI in business was just about automation. Making old processes a little faster, a little cheaper. But honestly, that's thinking small. Simple automation, that's quickly becoming a relic. The real revolution, the thing we're talking about today, is using AI agents to execute complex business strategy, not just mindless, repetitive tasks. And this, right here, is the absolute key. A tool follows instructions. A strategist makes decisions. That's the difference between, say, saving a few hours on a report and completely changing your competitive footing in the entire market. We are talking about an AI that isn't just following a script. It's making its own calls to hit a goal.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to break down 3 massive shifts. First, goal-driven autonomy, then complex orchestration, and finally, dynamic risk management. After that, we'll talk about what your next strategic move should be.
Okay, let's tackle our first huge shift, goal-driven autonomy. This is all about changing how we talk to AI. Forget giving it a rigid, step-by-step to-do list. Instead, you give it a mission, you give it a high-level objective, and tell it to figure out the best way to get there.
This is where you really see the power of what people are calling agentic AI, basically AI that has agency. When you tell an agent to optimize quarterly revenue, you're not giving it a checklist. You're giving it the freedom to make some really clever, strategic trade-offs a human might even be afraid to make. For instance, it could decide to intentionally drop a whole low-profit customer segment for a month just to free up inventory for a bigger, higher-profit surge it predicts is on the horizon. It's all about finding the absolute best path to that big-picture goal.
And this retail example just shows it perfectly. So picture this. A demand agent is scanning everything. Sales data, social media trends, even weather forecasts, and it predicts a huge demand surge for a specific product. Now, the old automation would just, reorder more stock. Boring. But a goal-driven system? It's way smarter. A pricing agent might instantly raise the price to maximize profit from the surge, while at the same time, a promotions agent holds back any planned discounts on that item. They're all talking to each other, making these trade-offs in real time to hit that one major goal: maximize the revenue.
Now, let's move on to our second big shift because this is how it all connects. We're talking about complex orchestration. Think of this as the AI becoming the central nervous system for the entire business, connecting all those different tools and data silos that almost never talk to each other.
I mean, think about it. In any big company, you've got critical information locked away in all these different places. Your CRM, your supply chain software, your customer service logs. Complex orchestration is like giving the AI agents a master key to every single one of them. It shatters those data barriers and lets the AI see the entire playing field at once, which, as you can imagine, leads to much more powerful, coordinated moves.
So what does this actually look like? Well, an agent could pull a customer's entire purchase history from one system, their latest support tickets from another, and their recent website clicks from a third, all to build a totally complete picture for some seriously personalized marketing. Or, just like in that supply chain example, you have multiple agents signaling each other, orchestrating this really complex dance across different departments, all in the blink of an eye.
This line from the Deloitte report just says it all, doesn't it? Common situational awareness. That's the magic right there. This isn't just about connecting systems, it's about creating a shared brain. These agents aren't just blindly following a sequence of commands. They are constantly talking, negotiating with each other, and aligning what they're doing based on one unified, live view of what's happening in the business.
And this all leads us to our third, and maybe the most game-changing shift of all, dynamic risk management. This is where AI agents really level up. They stop being simple watchdogs that just flag problems, and instead become an autonomous, always-on function that proactively manages risk and compliance for you.
The old way of doing things, it's totally reactive. An alarm goes off, and a team of people scrambles to put out the fire. Dynamic risk management is a whole different world. We're talking about agents that don't just send you an alert, they can simulate what-if scenarios, spot a potential compliance gap before it's even a problem, and then actually execute a response to fix it before it ever turns into a crisis.
And the applications here are just unbelievable. Think about an AI agent that can read a brand new financial regulation the second it's released, automatically map it against every single one of your company's internal controls, and then instantly flag any gaps. Or a system that is constantly running stress tests on a bank's portfolio, simulating market shocks to make sure it's safe. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is the new frontier of strategic risk management.
So after looking at these three huge shifts, it's pretty obvious the old AI playbook has to be tossed out the window. The conversation needs to move out of the IT department's to-do list and into the boardroom strategic planning session.
If you remember one thing from our time today, let it be this. The next generation of winners won't be defined by who's most efficient. They'll be defined by who can literally embed their core business strategy into autonomous AI systems. Systems that can execute, adapt, and optimize that strategy 24/7. So the critical first step isn't just hiring more data scientists. It's identifying one or two core strategic missions, like, say, breaking into a new market or making your supply chain bulletproof, that an autonomous agent could truly own from start to finish.
And that brings us to the one question you absolutely need to be asking in your next big meeting. Are you just building a strategy for AI, looking for little tasks to automate? Or are you building an AI that can execute a strategy, rethinking what's even possible now that you have a system that can operate with a speed and complexity humans never could? Because the answer to that question, well, that's what's going to decide the winners and losers of the next decade.